reasons that have been cited in the detailed judgment by the court for grant of bail to Arvind Kejriwal? Because remember, the Delhi Chief Minister had been described by the investigating agency as the mastermind of the Delhi liquor scam, saying that the buck stopped with Arvind Kejriwal. They said they had established a money trail. You know, the proceeds of crime went directly to Arvind Kejriwal. The money was then diverted to the Goa campaign of the Aam Aadmi Party for its election, this, that and the other. But if there is any mention in this particular order of, and we can only speculate right now, of there being no direct evidence to link Arvind Kejriwal to the alleged liquor policy scam, well, that would then be a big setback to the BJP and the Enforcement Directorate, because as I said, the narrative of the Aam Aadmi Party from the beginning has been that there is simply no substance in this case. These are trumped up charges brought by the BJP-led central government to target the opposition and in particular the Aam Aadmi Party.
Well, it won't be wise to speculate on exactly on what grounds the bail has been given, because we are yet to get our hands on the detailed judgment of the learned judge of the Rouse Avenue Court. But there are two things very interesting. Usually what we have seen, the way it works, a vacation bench judge giving an order granting bail to Arvind Kejriwal is unprecedented. The fact of the matter is that Arvind Kejriwal is one thing is very clear, that Arvind Kejriwal from a normal person who the ED would want to inquire to a kingpin or alleged mastermind of the entire case, that was the biggest 180-degree turn which you see in a criminal case. The Enforcement Directorate said that the reason why they wanted to summon him was they wanted to inquire him as one of the person, but not as the alleged mastermind. I think with Arvind Kejriwal getting a bail, I think either the court has decided that the investigation part, every single aspect of investigation part is over as far as the Enforcement Directorate is concerned, and there could be no problem if Arvind Kejriwal walks out of the jail, as he could not pose any threat to any potential either talking to a witness or tampering with evidence and all. The second could be that that the judge did not find any merit whatsoever about the allegation which was leveled against Arvind Kejriwal, and if the detailed order does hint towards that, I think Aam Aadmi Party is a completely different party. I would not equate it with Congress Party. They will go to town and they know how to make their voice heard as far as the political system of Delhi is concerned. It will be a big setback for the Enforcement Directorate, because not only Arvind Kejriwal, the entire opposition parties, they all have been saying that the ED, the CBI, these investigative agencies, especially ED, given the vast power now that has been vested with them, are being used by the central government to settle political sore. That is the allegation of all the opposition parties. And in middle of which, when Arvind Kejriwal was arrested, many felt that that there was no need for the ED to go ahead and do it. It may have politically boomeranged. It didn't boomerang in Delhi. BJP won all the 7 Lok Sabha seats. But you don't know how badly it may have boomeranged or resonated in some other parts of UP, bordering Delhi and all. And the third thing is that this bail order, once it is made public, once you get to know about the exact contours of this bail order, then the other opposition parties will also come forward and raise the campaign against the Enforcement Directorate. So I think it is a big political setback to the entire case. We'll have to wait and watch, as I would say it again and again, to get and read the entire judgment in its entirety. But Arvind Kejriwal getting bail from vacation bench of Rouse Avenue Court is a big development as far as politics in Delhi is concerned.
Development that very few would have expected. I think it would be safe to say, Brijesh, that since the 4th of June, when the Lok Sabha election results came out, the opposition, the India Alliance, really has received multiple boosts. Not only did it perform way better than expected in those elections, emerging as a very strong opposition for the first time in a decade, but now you also have the Delhi Chief Minister being granted bail in a case where he had been described by the investigating agency as the mastermind.
Well, absolutely. And I think, that is the reason why I'm saying that,
Sushil Gupta, Aam Aadmi, give me one moment. Give me just one moment, Brijesh. Stay on with me. Kartikeya Sharma is also here with me in the studio. But before that, I need to go across to Aam Aadmi Party MP Sushil Gupta, who joins us on the phone line at this point. Sushil ji, a big win for Arvind Kejriwal and the Aam Aadmi Party?
सत्य हमेशा जीतता है, सत्य लेट हो सकता है, पराजित नहीं हो सकता। आम आदमी पार्टी के सुप्रीमो, दिल्ली के लोकप्रिय मुख्यमंत्री अरविंद केजरीवाल जी को जिस प्रकार झूठे केस के अंदर चुनाव से डरते हुए भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने अंदर रखा, आज कोर्ट से उनको बेल मिली और बिल्कुल न्याय ने एक उचित रास्ता लिया। मैं हिंदुस्तान की न्याय प्रणाली को सैल्यूट करता हूं और उन्होंने जनता के विश्वास को कायम रखा और इस झूठे केस के अंदर अरविंद केजरीवाल को जमानत।
झूठा केस था और इसीलिए अरविंद केजरीवाल को बेल मिल गई है। इसमें तो कोई दो राय नहीं है कि आप लोगों के लिए और केजरीवाल जी के लिए बहुत बड़ी जीत है। अभी हम वेट कर रहे हैं डिटेल जजमेंट का। अभी हमें ये नहीं मालूम कि किन ग्राउंड्स पे केजरीवाल जी को बेल मिली है, लेकिन मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूंगी, क्या आपको लगता है कि अब रास्ता खुल सकता है मनीष सिसोदिया के लिए भी, जो पिछले 1.25 साल से कम जेल में है इसी सेम केस में?
मैंने पहले ही कहा कि सत्य लेट हो सकता है, पराजित नहीं हो सकता और सबको बेल मिलेगी और सम्मान सभी बाहर आए।
आप मानते हैं सबको बेल मिलेगी? तो सुशील जी, सवाल ये उठता है कि क्या इस बेल ऑर्डर से आप लोगों को लगता है ये साबित हो जाता है कि इस मामले में कुछ है नहीं और ये झूठा मामला बनाया गया?
ये भी साबित होगा। आप देखते रहिए, कोर्ट इस बात को भी साबित करेगी। कई बार सुप्रीम कोर्ट भी कह चुकी है कि इस मामले में कुछ है नहीं, ट्रायल कोर्ट में 2 पेशी के अंदर भी मुकदमा नहीं चल पाएगा। परंतु इस इलेक्शन से डरते हुए भारतीय जनता पार्टी अरविंद केजरीवाल जी के बढ़ते हुए कदमों को रोकने के लिए हमेशा ऐसा चलती रही, परंतु अब मुझे लगता है कि न्याय अपना रास्ता ले रहा है।
सुशील जी, कार्तिकेय बोल रहा हूं स्टूडियो से। आपको नहीं लगता है कि ये इस बेल बहुत पहले मिल जानी चाहिए थी?
निसंदेह मिल जानी चाहिए थी। कोर्ट ने एक जजमेंट भी दिया चुनाव के दौरान कि इस तरीके से रोकना, ठीक चुनाव के वक्त पे गिरफ्तार करना, ये गलत है। ये वर्डिक्ट सुप्रीम कोर्ट की थी और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने उस वक्त बेल भी दी और सुप्रीम कोर्ट के फैसले का सम्मान करते हुए अरविंद केजरीवाल जी दोबारा अंदर भी गए। परंतु कुछ ही समय में ये बेल मिलके ये साबित हो गया कि अरविंद केजरीवाल जी बिल्कुल ठीक थे, अपनी जगह पे ठीक थे।
सुशील जी, कल का दिन काफी बड़ा होगा, कुछ बताएंगे कि केजरीवाल जी के बाहर आने के बारे में क्या खबर पार्टी को है?
ईमानदारी से मैं हरियाणा में हूँ और नॉन एरियल जोन में घूम रहा हूँ, कभी भी फोन डिस्कनेक्ट हो सकता है। आई एम नॉट अवेयर, जस्ट आई सॉ द न्यूज इन द टेलीविजन।
नहीं, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, आपने हमसे बात की। आई थिंक
थैंक यू सुशील जी, थैंक यू सो मच।
Neha, it's a big development in the sense that not only the chief minister is getting the bail, but you see 2 things have happened. The first thing which has happened is that this chief minister refused to put in his paper. One, and there was intense pressure, if I just have to answer this politically, to ensure that he resigns from the position. But the resignation did not come through. So there was no legal remedy on part for the government to ensure that, that either there is an intervention part of the LG or from the president's office that the state is not being governed properly. So they could not get Mr. Kejriwal to resign. So one, it has created a precedent, which anyway should be to the dislike of the government, because the first thing which people do in such position or condition is they put in their papers. And then when you put in the papers, the number 2 becomes a chief minister. And then you become a forgotten story because you are behind the bars. He refused to do that. So now that is a precedent. Hemant Soren, when he went behind the bars, he went back to his residence, picked up the stuff, then he put in his papers, introduced the new guy to the people, and then he went behind the bar. A lot of things happened. In this case, none of it happened. So Kejriwal remained the chief minister. The second thing which I would really like to
know is that what will be the reception of the Congress party in this context. Are they going to welcome him? Elections in Delhi will be happening. They fought against each other in Punjab. Both of them did well. What is going to happen in Delhi? Because Kejriwal coming out is definitely a narrative problem for Bharatiya Janata Party. Kejriwal is not a legislative problem for the Bharatiya Janata Party. Arvind Kejriwal is not a Lok Sabha problem for the Bharatiya Janata Party. Arvind Kejriwal is a narrative problem for Bharatiya Janata Party because he starts weaving the narrative around him, and that's what irritates them. So for Arvind Kejriwal to be out, he gets the chance to fight, because imagine Arvind Kejriwal not being active, Delhi was for taking. Arvind Kejriwal outside fighting, Delhi during assembly is not for taking.
That's correct. Even though he was granted interim bail by the Supreme Court to campaign for the Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi and elsewhere during the Lok Sabha elections, we know that things didn't go, the Aam Aadmi Party's way in Delhi. They failed to pick up even a single seat, all 7 seats of the Lok Sabha going to the BJP. However, fact remains, as I mentioned earlier to Brijesh, and Brijesh, if I could bring you back in at this point in time, even as we wait for more details of this judgment to emerge, the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress may not have won a single seat in Delhi in the Lok Sabha elections, but this election has proved to be a turning point for the opposition, the India Alliance, in so many different ways, with them doing so much better than expected, emerging as a very strong opposition that's already keeping the government on its toes on multiple issues, including the NEET controversy. Now with Arvind Kejriwal set to walk out of Tihar jail tomorrow, how much of a headache do you think this could become for the BJP, which some might say is already on the back foot, given all the controversies that it's already faced in just the last few days of its 3rd term in office?
A lot, Neha. The reason why I'm saying this is, if you remember, the many do not go into details. If you remember, when he was released from jail and when he held his first press conference, he made that famous line of how, once Prime Minister Narendra Modi will retire after winning election next year, and then Amit Shah will become the Prime Minister, and the first person they are going to remove is Yogi Adityanath from Uttar Pradesh as the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. What happened was that, there was an immediate denial from the party, Amit Shah, and everybody said that, this is not going to happen, that is not applicable to the Prime Minister, but not a word was said about what will happen to the position of UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. There are many who believe that the reason for the tension between the two camps was because of this statement, and how this statement has percolated down to the nooks and corners of Uttar Pradesh. Arvind Kejriwal is a wily politician. You have to understand that he's not your run of the mill of politicians, or has any kind of political baggage and all. Until now, it has always been David versus Goliath. Be his taking on Sheila Dikshit, be his taking on Congress party, or be his taking on even Prime Minister Narendra Modi from Varanasi. He has the audacity to carry out a guerrilla kind of an attack.
Can I ask you a question? My question, we can have a conversation over it. When Arvind Kejriwal was campaigning, he had a very emaciated Congress party outside. He was a bigger star than the Congress party. Now Arvind Kejriwal is coming out with a different reality. It's like a different planet he's going to be landing in. You have a Congress party with 101 Lok Sabha seats. Rahul Gandhi is invigorated. There was a time when people would say that Arvind Kejriwal can be the center of gravity for the entire India operation. But today it's Rahul Gandhi, and the indications are that Rahul Gandhi is likely to accept the position of the leader of opposition. And in this case, what would be the political sort of relationship, or sort of a fulcrum workout between Rahul Gandhi and Arvind Kejriwal? It's a different world to which he is coming out.
Well, I would say that the relationship between Congress and Aam Aadmi Party is going to be very testy. The reason I say this is that, it will be kind of on edge, because there are a sizable chunk of the Congress party believes that the reason for the, downfall of Congress party, it was Arvind Kejriwal who was mostly responsible for it. Before the election, Arvind Kejriwal and others were punching much above their weights. And, if you take 2019, 2014, 19 and others, the Congress was at its political political nadir as far as its electoral performance is concerned. But right now, Arvind Kejriwal doesn't have that much of a Lok Sabha or a Rajya Sabha heft as it used to have in 2019. Rahul Gandhi is now a big political entity, and I think, once it starts, I don't see them coming together as far as the election of Delhi is concerned. But broadly, I would say that, for the first month or so, the India Alliance would also love to keep Arvind Kejriwal on its side, so the narrative of the unity or the narrative of unity of India Alliance doesn't get derailed or doesn't get punctured. But trust me, I do not see, as of now, I may be wrong a couple of months or 3 months later, but as of now,
तो मुझे लगता है कि अरविंद केजरीवाल का ऐसे वक्त में बाहर आना लोकतंत्र को मजबूती देगा और दिल्ली की जनता के लिए, देश की जनता के लिए आज बहुत खुशी का दिन है, बहुत बड़ी खबर है। हम सब लोग उत्साहित हैं इस खबर को सुन के, और मैं माननीय न्यायालय का जो ये फैसला आया है उसको सर झुका के नमन करता हूं। बहुत बड़ा फैसला उन्होंने दिया है।
इन्फोर्समेंट डायरेक्टरेट के तमाम बयानों को आज के कोर्ट में किस तरीके से देखते हैं, और जिस तरीके से
इन्फोर्समेंट डायरेक्टरेट का जो बयान अब तक रहा है वो झूठ की बुनियाद पे रहा है, और यही अगर मैं बार बार इस बात को कहता था कि भाई न्याय करने पर अगर कोई भी जज आ जाएगा तो इस केस में तो कुछ दम है ही नहीं है। एक बेबुनियाद झूठा केस अरविंद केजरीवाल को फंसाने के लिए बनाया गया था, प्रचार से दूर करने के लिए उनको जेल में भेजा गया था। तो इसलिए ये माननीय न्यायालय ने इस बात को समझा और दूध का दूध पानी का पानी हो गया।
देखिए, इस बेल के ऑर्डर के आने के बाद भारतीय जनता पार्टी के और भाजपा के साथ साजिश करने वाले तमाम लोगों के चेहरे पर काली छुटी है। ये सच्चाई की जीत है। हम डे 1 से कह रहे हैं कि पूरा का पूरा मामला फेक है, फर्जी है। हम कोर्ट के इस फैसले का सम्मान करते हैं सर झुका के। और आप देखिएगा, आज अरविंद जी बाहर आ रहे हैं। इस फर्जी आरोप में जितने भी नेता आम आदमी पार्टी गिरफ्तार हैं, सब लोग बाहर आएंगे। सत्यमेव जयते।
निश्चित तौर से आम आदमी पार्टी मजबूत होगी और संगठन को भी बल मिलता हुआ दिखाई देगा।
आम आदमी पार्टी पूरी ताकत से भारतीय जनता पार्टी के अत्याचार के खिलाफ कल भी लड़ रही थी, आज भी लड़ रही है और आने वाले वक्त में लड़ेगी। सत्यमेव जयते, सच्चाई की जीत हुई है। भाजपा के चेहरे पर काली कुटी फैसले के आने के बाद।
Aam Aadmi Party leaders celebrating, as you can see in those visuals, firecrackers going off in the national capital, the Karma Bhumi of the Aam Aadmi Party. This is undoubtedly a big day for them, a major legal and political victory, as Arvind Kejriwal has been granted bail by a Delhi court. He is expected to walk out of Tihar jail tomorrow once all the bail formalities have been completed. We will continue to get more reactions for you to that big development. Kartike, let me bring you in for a moment. We heard Sanjay Singh, senior Aam Aadmi Party leader, Rajya Sabha MP there, saying सबको पता चल जाएगा बहुत जल्दी कि ये मामला पूरा झूठा है. We were talking about how this was an unprecedented case where for the first time in the history of the country, a sitting chief minister was arrested and sent to jail, and he refused to resign despite all the political pressure that he faced. And when I interviewed Sanjay Singh, who was also arrested in connection with the Delhi liquor policy case and subsequently granted bail, he told me Hemant Soren, the former Jharkhand chief minister, actually, in the view of the Aam Aadmi Party, made a mistake by resigning when he was arrested by the Enforcement Directorate. He said, we are of the opinion that these are all trumped up charges against the opposition. Hemant Soren should have stuck to his guns and not resigned, and that is the path that Arvind Kejriwal is going to pursue, because we are not going to hand over a political victory to the BJP on a platter. Today, some might say they stand vindicated.
See, precisely that is why I said that what BJP didn't expect was that Mr. Kejriwal is now going to put in his papers. Now, even in Uddhav Thackeray case, though it's very different, but it's a long-drawn analogy, but it, what does it tell you? Sometime you need to stick to your position. The court said we could have helped you, but you put in the papers, which means that his government would have been restored for a bigger floor test if Uddhav Thackeray at that point of time wouldn't have put in his papers. So sometimes you stick to what you have. So that did not happen. That's number one. Secondly, the larger issue is that Mr. Kejriwal is not Uddhav Thackeray. Arvind Kejriwal has the capacity to continuously embarrass the government of India. That's number two. Number 3 is that Arvind Kejriwal is not going to sit quiet. Arvind Kejriwal is going to talk about jail. Arvind Kejriwal is going to talk about his colleagues. Arvind Kejriwal is going to talk about his future plans. Arvind Kejriwal is going to talk about many other things. So I don't think Arvind Kejriwal's political campaign is going to end. I don't think it's going to happen. So I would say that Arvind Kejriwal coming out, it's not a big blow, it's going to be a big irritant for Bharatiya Janata Party. It's not really going to be an easy thing because he's not going to stop. He's going to say things. He's going to prepare for Delhi elections. How far is Delhi elections? A year away?
Months away. It's scheduled to be held in 2025. There has been some speculation that it could be brought forward by a few months.
So, Mr. Kejriwal have full 8 to 7 months to prepare for the election. So, I think it's a great relief for me, Mr. Kejriwal, because Kejriwal, behind bars, I don't think Aam Aadmi Party would have been able to organize an assembly election because he is the rallying point. Even Sunita Kejriwal wouldn't have been able to do that. And the logistics or I would say the grammar of the AAP's politics would have reduced Sunita Kejriwal because the party came on anti-dynasty position, anti-dynasty, outsiders, outliers, and suddenly find Sunita Kejriwal contesting. That would have been unacceptable. And the BJP would have pulverized him. Now Mr. Kejriwal outside, it's business as usual. Now the BJP will be tested, and in case Kejriwal wins this election, this pattern of people voting different parties in different elections will come to stay. And if there is an alliance with Congress, then it's a different ball game.
At the moment, we've seen, the AAP and Congress bickering over multiple issues, but make no mistake, they're both important members of the India Alliance, and the India Alliance seems to have tasted blood since the 4th of June, and they certainly would not want to give up the advantage that they have, and therefore they will want to stay united to keep up pressure on the BJP-led central government on multiple issues. It's now a coalition government that has only just begun its term, and it's begun on a rocky note with the NEET controversy erupting all over the country. All right, Ravi Srivastav, political analyst, joins us at this point in time. Mr. Srivastav, pretty safe to say this is a big win for the Aam Aadmi Party and Arvind Kejriwal, though we are still waiting to find out the reasons cited by the court in its judgment while granting bail to Kejriwal.
I think the order has been kept because it was very late. Only the operative part has been announced that 1 lakh rupees is bail bond and the release will be tomorrow. So it's a very heartening news. It's a very good development as far as Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, and but I would say that damage is already done because this way that the way he was jailed for 3 months and he was out of action as far as Delhi's governance is concerned, I think it's a big blow to the AAP's work in Delhi as such. So now he will have to do a lot of work because 8 months away there will be elections for Delhi and assembly elections. And I think the time he has to do a lot of work in these 6 or 8 months. But one thing, let me tell you, Honorable Judge, in last time when the bail when he had challenged it, she has said if Kejriwal is granted bail, the case becomes over. And that's a fact. Now the case is over, almost. It's okay. The ED can challenge it in the higher court. All those evidences will be presented again. But I think this court has evaluated all the evidences on record and they have not found a justification for keeping Arvind Kejriwal in the custody. And that's why the bail has been granted. It's a very good development. And I think with the same argument, Manish Sisodia and others who are in the jail for this particular case will also get the bail. Well, I also pray God that Mr. Hemant Soren also gets the bail because he is also suffering for last 3-4 months in the jail.
His is a different case. Of course, as far as the Delhi liquor policy case goes, there is Manish Sisodia who's been languishing in Tihar jail for over a year. There's also K. Kavita, BRS leader who was arrested in connection with the same case. Now, I'm sure that, all these leaders would also be hoping that this order will have a cascading effect and maybe they can get relief as well. Stay on with us, Mr. Srivastav. I'll come back to you in just a moment. Ashok Bagria, our legal editor, is with us now. Ashok, Are the Aam Aadmi Party and its supporters jumping the gun by saying that this bail order means that the case against Arvind Kejriwal in the Aam Aadmi Party is over? Or do they have a point? Because here's a man who was described by the investigating agency as the mastermind, the kingpin of the so-called Delhi liquor scam. Now, if the court, and yes, we're still waiting for the detailed judgment to emerge, but if the court, in its wisdom, has taken the view that let's for instance say, there isn't enough evidence to link Arvind Kejriwal to this particular alleged crime, then does that mean that the case now is a very weak one?
Oh, well, that's a very tricky question that you asked, Neha. But, sorry, one thing is for sure, that Arvind Kejriwal being released on bail is a big development legally as well as politically. I'm going to talk only about the legal aspect of the case. Now, there's a charge sheet which has been filed against Arvind Kejriwal in this liquor policy scam case. Aam Aadmi Party cadres celebrating this release of Arvind Kejriwal on bail as the end of the case is not the case. The case will go on, the trial will still go on. But the only thing is that Arvind Kejriwal, instead of languishing in jail, like his deputy, Manish Sisodia, will be released on bail. Now, one very important thing I want to share with you at this point in time is that I did speak to ED lawyers just a few moments back, and they said that they are in the process of drafting an appeal, which they will be filing tomorrow, the first thing in the Delhi High Court, so as to prevent him being released on bail. So the first thing they are going to pray is for an immediate stay
on the lower
court's order. Because what will happen is 10:30, the trial courts also open, and 10:30, even the high courts open. So their endeavor, the ED's endeavor, is that he should not be released from the jail. Because once an accused is released from the jail, the higher courts are very reluctant to send him back to the jail because, firstly, it's a question of personal liberty of the accused. Second thing, then they get into a different zone of consideration, thinking whether releasing this man on bail, does it in any way interfere with the investigation? Will he tamper with the evidence? Will he try to influence the witness? Is he a flight risk? On all these counts, the answer is a negative. Arvind Kejriwal is a sitting Chief Minister of Delhi. He cannot be a flight risk by any stretch of imagination. A charge sheet has been filed against him. Yes, there is a possibility that he could influence witness or tamper with evidence, but there is a rider in all bail conditions that when a person is released on bail, immediately the court says that if any incident or instance of tampering with evidence or influencing the witness comes to their cognizance, they will cancel the bail. So it's very unlikely that a high-profile accused like Arvind Kejriwal would do anything such foolish. So it looks very unlikely that if Arvind Kejriwal is released from Tihar jail, even the cancellation of bail by the Delhi High Court.
Give me one moment, Ashok, because we have the first reaction from Arvind Kejriwal's lawyer coming in.
दी गई है कल सुबह जमानत की कार्रवाई पूरी की जाएगी और कल दोपहर बाद अरविंद केजरीवाल जी जेल से बाहर आ जाएंगे। ये एक बहुत बड़ी जीत है आम आदमी पार्टी के कार्यकर्ताओं की, देश की तमाम वो लोगों के लिए जिनकी उम्मीद अरविंद केजरीवाल जी हैं। सत्यमेव जयते।
All right. Before I go back to Ravi Srivastav, I want to put another question to Ashok. Ashok, of course, it remains to be seen what happens once the ED files an appeal against this verdict of the lower court in the Delhi High Court. Could the Delhi High Court consider cancelling Arvind Kejriwal's bail, or will he eventually walk out of Tihar jail, which he is expected to do sometime tomorrow? But the other question is, do you believe that this could have a cascading effect now on some of the others who have been in jail for a long time in connection with the same case, whether it is Manish Sisodia? Okay, just one moment.
यहां तक कि सुखराम जी जैसे लोग जिनके घरों से अरबों रुपया मिला था उनको भी मिली है। लालू प्रसाद यादव जी जिन्होंने चारा घोटाले के अंदर करोड़ों रुपए उनके घर से मिला था, अरबों रुपया, उनको भी जमानत मिली है। ऐसे अनेकों पॉलिटिकल लोग हैं, चाहे पी चिदम्बरम जी हों या और भी बहुत अनेकों सैकड़ों लोग हैं जिनको करप्शन के केसेस में, और मैं ये भी कह दूं चाहे कोई ऑफिसर हो जिनके हाथ से कैश पैसे पकड़े गए हों, जमानत कोर्ट उनको भी देती है जब तक सजा नहीं होती। अरविंद केजरीवाल जी और आम आदमी पार्टी को मैं ये जरूर कहना चाहता हूं, जिनको आपने पंजाब में विजिलेंस केसेस में, करप्शन के केसेस में अरेस्ट किया था, चाहे वो साधु सिंह धर्मसोत हो, चाहे वो मिस्टर आशु हो, करप्शन के केस में अरेस्ट हुए या और लोग भी हुए, उन सबको भी कोर्टों में जमानत दी। जमानत मिलने का मतलब ये नहीं है कि आज आप कहें हमारे खिलाफ सबूत नहीं है। अब के आपके खिलाफ सबूत थे, इसीलिए तो उसी कोर्ट ने आपको पहले जेल में भेजा, और आज तो अब ये भी नहीं अरविंद केजरीवाल जी कह सकते कोर्ट बायस्ड है, उसी कोर्ट ने आपको जमानत दी क्योंकि सबूत आपके खिलाफ थे, इसीलिए आपको 6 महीने उसी कोर्ट ने जेल में रखा था। तो बड़ा स्पष्ट है अरविंद केजरीवाल जी भ्रष्ट हैं, बेईमान हैं, उन्होंने पैसे लिए थे, उनको ये जो जमानत मिली है, सजा होने तक मिली है, उनकी सजा होगी और अरविंद केजरीवाल जी फिर से जेल में जाएंगे सजा होने के बाद शराब घोटाले में।
Okay, the political war between the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP will continue on this case, but clearly a big victory for now for Arvind Kejriwal and the Aam Aadmi Party. I still have with me Ravi Srivastav, Ashok Bagre and Brijesh Pandey on the show. Ashok, if I could come back to you, the question I meant to ask is, do you believe that this could have a domino effect on some of the other individuals who have been lodged in jail for quite some time now in connection with the same case, whether it's Manish Sisodia or K. Kavita or others?
Well, if you look at the ED's arguments in this particular case, the ED had categorically called Arvind Kejriwal as the kingpin of the liquor excise policy scam. The role attributed to Arvind Kejriwal was that he was the mastermind and he was the one who called the shots. Now, if you look at the roles of K. Kavita and Manish Sisodia, they are different and subsidiary to the roles attributed to Arvind Kejriwal. So, I believe that very soon, once if Arvind Kejriwal is released from the jail tomorrow, his case or his bail order will be cited both by K. Kavita and Manish Sisodia to get bail, saying that, look, what is the ED's best case against us? The ED's best case was Arvind Kejriwal is at the top of the pyramid. He is the man who was calling the shots. He is the kingpin. But even the kingpin, who is the co-accused number 1 in this case, has been granted bail because the court has taken a prima facie view that there is no evidence, because although I'm just saying this is whether there is evidence or not is only a matter of trial and final adjudication. But here at the moment, whatever view the court has taken, this will be cited and it could have an impact on the bail applications if moved by K. Kavita and Manish Sisodia in a definite manner.
All right, quite interesting. This could definitely have a positive impact on the bail pleas of Manish Sisodia and K. Kavita in the days ahead. Let me go back to Ravi Srivastav at this point. Ravi Srivastav, what does this development mean for the BJP? Many believe it's going to be an additional headache for the new government. It is a coalition government now. It's been in office for only a few days. It's already dealing with multiple challenges, especially the NEET controversy, over which the opposition is putting a lot of pressure on them. What do you think this means for the BJP and also for the India alliance? A big boost to the entire opposition? Would you agree?
Absolutely. First of all, it is wrong to call it a Modi 3.0 government. It's a Modi 2.1 government, because after this third time when he has taken charge, it has already taken a very bad beginning, you must say. The NEET controversy, the NET already has been scrapped. You have got a serious accident happening in West Bengal. So all these things have already put the government on a defensive. On the price front, on the unemployment front, everywhere the problems have cropped up. It's a big boost for India alliance, I must say. Because the way my learned friend was saying, that even others whom Arvind was called as a kingpin, a fountainhead, a mastermind, etc., etc., if there are no evidences on board, what I say is that what was happening till now in the liquor case? In the liquor case, it was only presumptions, assumptions, some approver's statement, somebody even said that Hawala operator's diary has been found. But a Hawala operator is not a saint. Hawala operator is a criminal as such. And a criminal's diary, if ED is going to rely, I don't know what kind of evidences they have got. It has been found that the people have been made approver after buying the electoral bonds. That Reddy, Sarath Reddy and those people have been found that they became approver after giving 9 statements and Arvind Kejriwal has nothing to do. So these kind of evidences will not stand a scrutiny of law. And Honorable Judge Khanna had already said, the Supreme Court judge, had remarked that your case will not stand for 2 minutes on the trial. So that's what is going to happen. Today, although ED was saying that they have got some photocopies of the note, the currency note, which have exchanged hands. I know, kind of funny and baseless and concocted, fabricated evidences these people are relying upon. I think the court is going to grill them quite well. And it's a good beginning. It's a fairly good order. And I don't think that ED challenging it tomorrow will have any material effect. It will be a trial ultimately. Let it go on. Yeah.
Okay. So you don't believe the Delhi High Court is likely to reject or cancel his bail in any way? But yes, we must be mindful of what Ashok is saying. It's not like the trial is over and the accused have been acquitted. The trial will still go on. But Arvind Kejriwal, at the moment, it looks like he's going to be a free man. Let me go back to Brijesh Pandey at this point. Brijesh Pandey, as we've been saying ad nauseum, this is a major political victory, not just for the Aam Aadmi Party and Arvind Kejriwal, but perhaps for the India alliance itself. You know, as I've been mentioning, the NDA Sarkar has been in office for barely a few days, and they're already on the back foot, whether it is on the issue of the train accident that happened in West Bengal, or now the massive NEET controversy over which the opposition is stepping up pressure every single day. And now with Arvind Kejriwal walking out of jail, there is going to be a fresh narrative that we told you the BJP was unleashing its agencies to target the opposition, and we've now been vindicated.
Well, yeah, I would come to your question, but like, you know, something I wanted to say is that, you know, as Ashok was saying, that this is bail, trial will go on, and it's absolutely correct. But the fact of the matter is also that, you know, that the bail pleas of all the Aam Aadmi Party leaders have been rejected so many times that, you know, that this particular grant of bail to Arvind Kejriwal, when, you know, when it looked like that he might also languish behind bars as Manish Sisodia or Satyen Jain had, you know, the chances of it was very, very imminent. That is the reason why this bail which has come out came as almost, you know, the acquittal notice has come. Part B is that, you know, that every time, you know, if the Aam Aadmi Party leaders would say that, you know, that this entire liquor policy scam is a bogus case, or like, you know, there's no merit in it and things like that, the BJP would always say that, you know, if this is the case, then why is the lower court, high court or the Supreme Court not granting you bail? I think, you know, that narrative will also be dented quite considerably given the fact that Arvind Kejriwal has now been granted bail. I would also like to read, you know, as you asked about the reaction of Indie team, I think Shiva Sena Uddhav Thackeray's spokesperson Anand Dubey has said that it's a big win, and you know, the most famous quote, you know, hundreds of memes have also been launched, that Satya Parashan ho sakta hai, Parajit nahi. So I think, you know, the opposition, which is also a kind of feeling on a front foot, you know, given the fact that late last night UGC NET exam was cancelled, the NEET examination is under scanner, and opposition felt like, you know, as was today in a press conference by Rahul Gandhi and others, they said that, you know, that they will raise this issue, and they will raise this issue big inside the parliament. I think what will happen is that with Arvind Kejriwal also out on bail, they've gotten another issue to act as a force multiplier as far as taking on the BJP-led government BJP-led NDA government is concerned. I think it is going to be fireworks, you know, as far as the session which is going to start from 24th, but 24th, 25th is when people will, you know, MPs will take oath. From 26 onwards, we'll see that, you know, that there'll be fireworks inside in the parliament, because not only Aam Aadmi Party is buoyed, but many in the opposition parties are seeing this as a good signal to other cases, as Ashok was mentioning, about K. Kavita, about Manish Sisodia, about Hemant Soren. So it gives a hope to other leaders who have been incarcerated behind bar for quite considerable time now. Neha?
I think it will be very safe to say, Brijesh, that there will be fireworks in the parliament session, and the government is likely to have a tough time this time around, unlike anything we've seen in the last 10 years. As we wrap up this discussion, Ashok, I will give you the last word. If you could just explain to our viewers what happens next in this entire case, apart from, all of this being a great political victory for Arvind Kejriwal.
Well, legally what will happen tomorrow is very interesting to see. That I have been given to understand that the ED will be filing a appeal against the trial court's order releasing Arvind on bail. So the first thing that the ED will try to do is to seek a stay on his release. They will try to impress on the High Court that Arvind Kejriwal has been behind bars for 89 days. There is no tearing hurry to release him. If the High Court is convinced, maybe the High Court should first hear the Enforcement Directorate and then take a call whether to stay the lower court's order or not. That is the first limb of their strategy. The second limb of ED's strategy will be the normal appeal, saying that the High Court or the lower court's order is vitiated, it's bad in law to release Arvind Kejriwal on bail. But one more thing that we should always be looking out at and should be looking out at is the Supreme Court's order. Now there is a judgment on Arvind Kejriwal's petition which has been reserved by the Supreme Court, bench of Justice Sanjeev Khanna and Dipankar Datta, where Arvind Kejriwal has challenged the legal validity and constitutionality of his arrest by ED under the PMLA Act.
And when is that likely to be heard next?
The orders, the judgment has been reserved.
Okay.
But what I assume is that by the second week of July or the third week of July, that judgment will be pronounced. And once that judgment is pronounced, and if it gives Arvind Kejriwal a clean chit and says that his arrest was wrong in law, then all hell will break loose.
Then legally, the case falls apart.
Then the case falls apart.
Yes.
But ultimately, the Supreme Court's observations, it's all in the realm of speculation at this point of time. We are just discussing that if this happens, then what happens is that there is already a charge sheet. So he will have to face trial. The court has taken cognizance of the charge sheet, whereby the court has said that yes, prima facie, we are convinced that there is a case against Arvind Kejriwal. So he will have to face the trial. But Arvind will always have the defense of showing to the lower court or the trial court saying that, look, this is what the Supreme Court has said about my case.
And ultimately, the Supreme Court really does have the last word on all judicial matters in this country. Of course, we don't know which way this case will go in the Supreme Court. At the moment, it does look like the trial will go on, but this is a huge relief and victory for Arvind Kejriwal and the Aam Aadmi Party. And clearly, the order granting him bail also comes as a massive setback, not just to the Enforcement Directorate, but also to the BJP. Well, lots of reactions have been coming in. Let's listen into a few of those. And on that note, I'd like to thank Ashok Bagria, Brijesh Pandey and Ravi Srivastava for joining me on the show.
गुजर रही है, संकट के दौर से गुजर रही है, एक ऐसे समय में जब देश के अंदर एक जनादेश आया है इस सरकार के खिलाफ, मौजूदा सरकार के खिलाफ, तो मुझे लगता है कि अरविंद केजरीवाल का ऐसे वक्त में बाहर आना लोकतंत्र को मजबूती देगा और दिल्ली की जनता के लिए, देश की जनता के लिए आज बहुत खुशी का दिन है, बहुत बड़ी खबर है। हम सब लोग उत्साहित हैं इस खबर को सुन के और मैं माननीय न्यायालय का जो ये फैसला आया है उसको सर झुका के नमन करता हूं। बहुत बड़ा फैसला उन्होंने दिया है। इन्फोर्समेंट डायरेक्टरेट का जो बयान अब तक रहा है वो झूठ की बुनियाद पे रहा है और यही अगर मैं बार बार इस बात को कहता था कि भाई न्याय